Hi friends, welcome to GMK tutorials. In this video, we are going to discussing about converting colors from HSI model or maybe HSI color space to RGB color space. So I request you all of you, so please subscribe our channel. Still, if you are not subscribing, so please share it to your friends. It will give a lot of support for me for doing more and more videos. Okay, let's move on to the topic. So converting from HSI to RGB model. So for that purpose, just you have to take some of the assumptions. The HSI interval range from 0 to 1. That means if you are assuming that the remaining colors red and green values in the range from 0 to 1. So you have to take the corresponding values also in the range from 0 to 1 only. That means the normalized range of the HSI model is also from 0 to 1. So for that purpose, if you want to converting that values into the normal values, so the RGB values in the same range. So it is completely depending upon the following equations. We can converting that HSI model to RGB model. So for that purpose, first of all, you have to take three sectors. That is nothing but corresponding to each and every one is nothing but 120 degrees. Generally, if you are very closely observe, let us see here. So it is a color cube, right? I think all of you having some basic idea how we are going to draw the color cube. Okay, so where it is nothing but which represents a red color. So the same structure can be represented here. So the same structure can be represented in the vertical direction. Because of the HSI model is represent color cube can be represented vertical manner. Why? Because this this vertical line represents the intensity value. This represents the intensity value. And at the same time, the line from this point to, if you are taking any reference point from here, the length of this line represents the saturation value. This length of the value represents the saturation. The overall angle in the anti-clockwise direction that gives rise to corresponding H value. This is the procedure how we are going to find the corresponding HSI component. Suppose if you are having a HSI component, how we are going to converting from HSI to RGB model. So let's move on to that one. So for that purpose, I think all of you having some basic idea how the corresponding colors like. So generally the RGB components are in like this. This is a plane red, green, blue. So the remaining, that means each and every, so the angle made by this 3 is nothing but 120 degrees. So each one 120. So overall angle made by the complete plane is equal 360 degrees. So that's why the hue value is also depends on 360 degrees only. As well as the secondary colors is also differ by cyan, yellow, magenta. These three colors also differ by 120 degrees to each other. But the secondary colors with respect to the primary colors only 60 degrees only. It is also very important, right? So let's move on to the topic. So for that purpose, if you want to converting that HSI model to normal value, just you have to multiply the corresponding value. So for that purpose, corresponding to 120 degrees, multiply H value by 360 degrees, which gives rise to the original value of the range from 0 to 360 degrees. Because of it is the corresponding hue range is from 0 to 360 degrees only. So if you are normalizing that value to 0 to 1, so for that purpose you have to multiply that value to 360 degrees. You will get back to the original values of the hue range from 0 to 360. So that is the basic reason, guys. Okay, as well as you seen in the last diagram, the corresponding planes also differ by 120 degrees each one. So for that purpose, just here we will take the three sectors. So the corresponding colors are in the range from three sectors. The first sector is nothing but RG sector. So RG sector. So RG sector range means that obviously the range from RG. That means suppose if you just I will draw the diagram for that one. red, this is nothing but green, blue, this is nothing but yellow, cyan, magenta, right? So our interest is not there. Now we have to consider first one is nothing but which sector? RG sector. This is the sector. So this angle RG sector, this is nothing but RG sector. So in the RG sector, what happens is that the RG sector, now if you are taking these values as RG sector, the H is in the sector from the H value is range from the total H value is actually 360 degrees. So from 0 to, so from this the value is equal 120 degrees. Therefore the H value range from 0 to 120 degrees. When H is in this sector, the RGB components are can be given by the equation B is equal to I into 1 minus S. So B is equal to I into 1 minus S. So generally blue, so S is nothing but saturation, that is nothing but diluted color from the pure white. So just you have to take the corresponding values into the consideration. So this is a formula for taking the corresponding R value in the RG sector. Just you have to remember this formula. It is similar for all cases. Just you have to change the corresponding variable, where R is equal to I into 1 plus S into cos of H by cos of 60 minus H, cos of 60 degrees minus. So the last one G component, this means just you have to take the first value is equal to starting value can be represented each and every plane with the same formula. So this G value can be represented as G is equal to, just this is a shortcut way, right? So G is equal to, what is the value? Generally we know that in the previous case intensity from RGB space to HSI model, I is equal to, we can represent average of three colors, right? So R plus G plus B, right? Now so this value is gives rise to 3I is equal to R plus G plus blue. Our interest is just to find out the corresponding G value, right? Therefore G is equal to, what is the value? 3I minus remaining subtraction of red plus blue. So this is the reason why we are writing the equation. Now in this case, the same scenario where remaining blue color, that means the missing color is blue color, right? So B is equal to overall intensity value into 1 minus saturation of the color. So where saturation is nothing but how much of color is diluted from the pure color. Therefore if you are subtracting that color, so diluted means that missing, right? So 1 minus S is equal to, that gives us the blue color. That is the shortcut way you have to remember that value. So that's why just I am trying to give my level base. Okay. So that is a scenario. Now coming to the next one, next sector, that sector is nothing but, second sector that gives rise to in this range, that is nothing but GB sector. So this is nothing but where 120 plus 120, it gives rise to 240. Therefore the H overall angle is equal to, H is equal to 240 degrees. Therefore the H range from 120 degrees to 240 degrees in the GB sector. Okay, only GB sector, it ranges from 120 degrees to 240. Suppose the overall H value is equal to, H is equal to H minus 120. Generally H is equal to 360 degrees. So 360 minus 120 is equal to, obviously it gives us to 240. That means overall H value is equal to 240. So in the GB sector, that value is equal to only 120 degrees. So 120 to 240 is equal to the difference of 120 degrees. So that is a given term. So the next components can be, so in the GB sector, the components are given by, so it is also same similar shortcut, whatever we discussed in the, so that gives rise to, so in this case also same scenario, just I have to repeat. So here, if the given values of the H in this sector, we first subtract 120 degrees from it, because of the previous plane is made by the angle from red to green plane 120 degrees. Just you have to subtract that, that gives us to only H value in the GB sector. So the same way, the general formula for G is equal, this is the same formula, I is equal, G is equal to I into 1 plus S into cos of H by cos of 60 degrees minus H, as well as B value also same. So B is equal to overall intensity value, based on the previous discussion, B is equal to 3I minus, so because of, why? Because So 3I is equal to R plus G plus B. So this is based on the average intensity of the RGB to HSI model, right? Now, if you are taking the only our interest is focusing on missing letter is nothing but in this plane R value. So missing letter is the R plane. Now we have to find out the B value. So the last component is the B. Therefore, B is equal to 3I minus R plus G. So 3I minus R plus G, that gives rise to B value. So that is the derivation for this one. At the same time, if you want to find out the missing component is nothing but what is our missing component here? So missing in the GB sector, missing value is nothing but R. That means R value is diluted. Diluted means, sir, obviously the color is subtracting from the white color. Therefore, 1 is nothing but pure color. 1 minus S is nothing but subtracting of that color into corresponding R, that gives rise to R value. So this is a way you have to remember the corresponding values very easily. The last sector, coming to the last sector, that is nothing but BR sector. In BR sector also same scenario. Suppose if you are taking the BR, means that overall angle made by this one is equal to BR. So here the values red, green, blue. So BR sector means that this is the rectangle. So overall here also range angle made by the corresponding red and blue is also 120 degrees. If you want to find out the overall H value means, so that is nothing but subtracting these two colors, subtracting this angle. That means this angle made by this one is equal to 240. Therefore, the H value in this range is equal, H is equal to H minus 240. That gives rise to the angle made by the corresponding Q value is equal to in the range from 240 to 360 degrees. So here also same thing. The first value, B value is nothing but the same formula. B is equal for this one, I into 1 plus S into cos of H by cos of 60 minus H by 60 minus H value. At the same time, R value is nothing but, so based on the intensity range, R is equal to 3I minus the remaining two colors. That gives rise to R value. So what is the missing letter here? So G is the missing letter. So G can be represented as G is equal to 1 minus saturation of that color gives rise to complete value. Therefore, G is equal to I into 1 minus I. So this is a way we are going to find out the corresponding values from conversion from, if you have a HSI colors, with the help of a HSI colors, you can convert that value, you can represent the RGB values. So this is a way procedure how we are going to represent this one. So the basic difference in this case is very important, is nothing but, so this is a cube model. This cube model can be represented in the vertical axis. That is a very important. Okay, as well as these are the values for hue and saturation model in case of the hexagon shape. So this is a reference plane, this is a red plane. So angle made by this point gives rise to H value here. So hue value. So the length of this line represents the saturation value. Okay. So the distance from this one is equal to, represents the intensity value. So these are the parameters you have to identify in this one. So this is the terms, right? I think all of you, if you want to find out all the values, I think all of you have a sufficient data for this one, right? So I is the intensity value you can get from the given data. H is nothing but the corresponding range of H is equal based on the corresponding sector, and cos is the angle normal. So this is a way we are going to converting from, if you have a HSI colors, you can represent in the RGB space also. So thank you for watching GM tutorial. Thank you.